Hello everyone, welcome to devlog 1 for the Dragon game engine. There's already quite a bit of functionality in here, but there is much more to come in the future. Some of the features that are already include, pretty funny, hey? So some of the features that are already include a basic renderer, a first-person controller, and a full event system. It also includes a few prefabs here, including this cube, which means you don't have to do any work to include this in your games. You just implement one of my classes. So the way I want to structure these devlogs is the beginning. I will demonstrate the physical effects of these changes on the app, and then we'll dive into the code which you guys will have to write when using the engine to show off how you use these features. So yeah, this is basically what we got now. I forgot. I'm just going to change something real quick. I'm just going to not capture this. I'm just going to not capture the mouse when I start it up real quick. So it's still working, but it won't work when I go off the screen. So it's resizable as well, the window, which is always useful. So yeah, you can have it pretty much any size you'd want in any position. Anyway, I do have this API method, set cursor captured, in which you can obviously stop the cursor from showing, and you can basically infinitely move, so it's not bounded by the edges of the window, which is huge. The escape button also, just a quick little thing I coded in here. The escape button closes the app using another API method. So going over the file, so this entire game is all in one file using my engine. So everything that you'll have to write is basically in here. So this is the engine, and this is the game that I have written in the engine. So first of all, you want your application to implement the interface that comes with Dragon game engine. That lets the engine know that this is a target app for it. This iListener is an optional interface that will add these API methods that hook into the application lifetime events, such as application start, application tick, application initialize, stop. You could all the window events, so when it's resized or moved or maximized or anything, they come through on this engine events. And then key or mouse button event. You can detect what kind of event it was using this. I guess it's not really an API, it's just an enum. But if you use this enum, you can say, hey, I want a mouse button press or a key press. Whew, drinking an energy drink, and I'm like a little bit bloated. They're a bit what's the word? It's like when you drink Coke, it's just so carbonated, you just burp a lot. Anyway, so these are enums set up within the engine that you can use. Like they're static and they're public, so you can use them in any one of your files. So you can just check the event type is one of our event types, which I will show right here. So yeah, like I said, quite a few. You got the application lifetime events, the window events, anytime something happens to that. Key events and mouse events, so you can detect where the mouse is, like what the scroll is, which is what all these events relate to. I'm kind of going in circles here, but the point is there are a bunch of events that fire off in the lifetime of the app, and you can hook into it using the iListener interface and these functions. That's it. That's the event system. There are also these API methods here that get executed in the lifetime of the application. So this initialize function gets called at the same time that the window is being initialized and the application engine is getting initialized. So this should come right after all of the necessary things are initialized, like the window has to be initialized for you to I don't know, register. Like doing these registration stuff requires a window, so this comes after. So there's a few phases during initialization you're going to want to follow. So you can configure the app using that API method. That's currently the only configuration that I have. Oh, I should also mention these methods at the top here. They're just getters that are used by the API to determine different data. So for instance, you'll notice the window starts at 1280 by 720, but I can change that to like any resolution I want using these getter methods. So it's much smaller. Anyway, so yeah, there's ones for the width and height and the title and then the camera. This one's pretty important, and I've put a note here because currently it's not being checked. So if you forget to initialize this, I haven't tested it, but I'm pretty confident your app will crash if you don't initialize it. Yeah, okay. So null pointer. So basically the camera hasn't been set up, so it's freaking out. But yeah, there'll be some kind of in-engine validation for that in the future. So it won't crash your app. It'll just say, hey, you don't have a camera. Make sure you initialize it. But yeah, so that's how you create your app. You got this main method, which is why I'm slightly inclined to call it a library instead of an engine. Because you are still creating the application on your own like code. In your own code, you're creating the app. It's just like a library or an addition that you add into your own code base, I guess. But yeah, you register the app with a reference to this class which has to implement this interface, and then that'll basically boot up the application in here. Starting off, creates the application and does all the lifetime stuff for the Dragon engine. Yeah, then we come back to here, and you've got these so we've already talked about the configuration. This is the only one we have, but then you register the listeners, and this used to be really annoying. You used to have to create a list of all the event types and then pass that through, but I've made it so that you can have a variable number of events just tacked onto the end of this function, and that'll be all the events that this listener is subscribed to, basically, and that'll be what comes through in these functions. So I think that's a decent overall. I might just show you the the cube. It's simple as, right? So you want to create a something that you have access to, and then you literally just create the cube, and then you can set like the scale and position to change it from what the original prefab has. Because if you don't do any of this, it'll come out at a default size of 1 unit at 0, 0, 0. So that's simple. That's how you use our cube prefab. First person camera prefab is pretty simple. You just set it up like that. And you don't need to pass it through to the app or anything. This is just like a abstracted layer that you use to control the actual camera that's built into the app. This one. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Move, rotate. They're the two methods that need to run every frame to update your first person camera, and then you just need to make sure that you update the actual position of the mouse in the back end for that first person camera, because if you don't do that, it won't know that the mouse has moved at all, and you'll notice that's in the mouse moved event, which has been subscribed right there. Well, I guess you say the listener has been registered, because I don't really call it subscribed, but yeah, that's an overview of the engine so far. I hope that didn't take too long. I hope it was only like a few minutes, but yeah, I'll be returning at some point with the new changes. Shouldn't take too long. I mean, it's only been 2 days of work on this engine so far, so hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of the rate that I can work on this. But I do work full time, so we'll see. Yeah, so the next thing I'm planning on working on is a like an object loader kind of like system, so that you can bring Blender files into the app. So for instance, I could put something like the Harvard Dragon. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna change that size back. So yeah, you could put something like the Harvard Dragon in here and have it in a, and also lighting as well. So they're probably the 2 things I'll do before the next devlog. Is like a more complex object loader and lighting, and then hopefully, yeah, we'll have a pretty sick little 3D object browser or 3D object viewer built up. I guess there are events and stuff, so it's got more than just a 3D object viewer. Anyway, sorry for rambling, but that's the engine. Hope you tune in later as well to see what happens, because I don't exactly know how these new features are going to go. So it'll be an adventure together. Anyway, thanks. See ya.